Hey, it's Jar of Destiny time from your friends here at the Brew-Dudes blog, John and Mike. And the first one up from the pick that we did back in March, is from the 2015 BJCP guidelines, 15B Irish Stout. Irish Stout. Now, this is a black beer with pronounced roasted flavor, similar to coffee. The balance can range from fairly even to quite bitter, with more balanced versions having a little malty sweetness and the bitter versions being quite dry. So that's what we're trying to do. You know, the roasted flavor can be dry and coffee-like to somewhat chocolatey. Let's see how we try to get there. So this is a 5-gallon US gallon batch. The water I used is half distilled, half filtered tap, because I think that our water has been good for stouts.
I agree.
In the past. Of course, I put a half Camden tablet just to knock out all the, bad stuff from the chlorine they put in our water. Let's go on to the grains. The typical stout percentages, 70, 20, 10. For this 5-gallon batch, it's 70% of crisp British two-row malt, 20% of flaked barley, and 1 pound of roasted barley. And because our friend Jamil Zanishev said, you really need to grind it up into a fine powder, probably because he was using like lower Lovabond
Maybe
roasted barley. It's like, you got to do that for the flavor and the color. I looked on the website that I bought this flaked barley from, quoted 575 Lovabond. I've never seen anything that high, but okay. Probably didn't need to grind it to a fine powder. I'll send you the photos. You can put it into the video. When you grind roasted barley into a fine powder, it becomes quite hydrophobic.
Yeah.
So have fun putting that into your mash paddle, okay? That's all I'll say. Hops, 2 ounces of Kent Goldings hops. It's 5.2 alpha acid. We did that for the for 60 minutes in the boil. Yeast was 1 packet of Y yeast, 1084 Irish ale. We did a 1 liter starter just to make sure we got full fermentation with that, along with a mash schedule, which I haven't done, all that much, but the step mash. Mashed for 120 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. It's 49 degrees Celsius. Then mashed at 150 degrees, 66 Celsius for 75 minutes. And then mashed out at 170 and 77 degrees Celsius just to get it into the kettle. Boil for 75 minutes. It said 90 minutes, but, who needs that extra 15 minutes? Chilled to 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, as the months were getting warmer, I'm like, how am I going to keep it low and slow? We had a nice rainy week, and I was like, this is what I need. So chilled that down and pitched the starter all in. Fermented for 2 weeks, and as the temperatures rose outside, it also rose in my basement. And forgot to say, I also threw a Whirlflock tablet in 15 minutes ago in the boil. Kegged and then slowly carbonated for 2 weeks for this particular video session. Original gravity was targeting 1044, and I hit it. Final gravity was 1010 for an ABV of 4.46%. All right, sir, I've been drinking this a bit over the weeks, as it's been slowly carbing up. So what do you think?
I think that this is one of those beer styles, and this particular formulation of a recipe is just something that doesn't need to get messed with, right? The 70-20-10 thing, that's about as dialed in as it's going to get, especially if you manage to nail fermentation like this is, right? This fermentation is fantastic. The aroma on this thing, for just being what it is, there's a maris otter, there's a little bit of biscuitiness there.
Not maris otter, crisp. Yeah.
Right. So there's a nice pale ale malt.
Yes.
Biscuit quality to it. The roast nose, it is not like big and dry, roasty. It's very interesting to you throw a pound of roasted barley into a batch like this, and you'd think, oh man, this is just going to be rippingly roasty, but it's not. It's like there's a very subtle, like from the black colored malt, there's a very subtle, like almost, it's a light coffee, but it's a light chocolate. It's almost like a little bit of like jalapeno pepper type of aroma. And with the 1084 ale yeast, Irish ale yeast, it's all sort of being tied together with whatever that yeast does to dark malts to make something pretty magical. So it's really nice. It's actually, there's like just a subtle fruit estery. Like when I say green pepper or jalapeno, I'm talking about when people refer to certain like roasts of coffee, typically you'll have a little bit of that in it.
Yep.
But it's super pleasant. And as it's warmed up, it's gotten a little bit more chocolatey. But then the flavor's the same thing. It's smooth. It's not bitter. It's not harsh in any way.
Not acrid, like
Not-
any
none
of
of
the
that.
And I've brewed stouts where I'm like, way too much of the roasted.
Yeah, and you're
barley
doing,
from it.
and you probably didn't even use a whole pound, right? I mean, so that's the thing that's crazy.
Yeah, 'cause-
meaning like in other type of
Sure.
stouts. I don't know. This is a winner. The way it comes together. I mean, it's just great. It's a classic thing to do, but if you stick with the classic setup, it comes out pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, this is certainly coming right from brewing classic styles. And I think the biggest thing is I'd never done the roasted barley into a fine powder. I wanted to see what that would bring to the beer.
Yeah.
Also, never did a step mash in my stouts. Wanted to see what that was happening. I will tell you that along with the yeast starter, that signs of fermentation started within, I don't know, 12 hours once I pitched.
Yeah.
And then we're done the next day.
Oh yeah. These things
Like,
don't take long.
Done. Like I was like, oh, what happened? Like
Yeah.
it was like all this krausen was
Yeah.
going on, and then it was done. I just let it sit for 13 more days, right? For 2 weeks total. And I was just like, all right, I'll just let this simmer and do its thing and not try to mess with it. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, I racked it and then let it just settle out. I really wanted to get more clarity to it. I'm not sure if I'm getting that. And I was like I was telling you before we started rolling, wanted to get that head to be more of a lighter tan. It's pretty much there. I mean,
It's
I wonder.
there.
I wonder if the nitro in some of these styles.
Well, the bubbles are smaller, so it's tighter.
Yeah.
And so it would look a little lighter in appearance. But when you first poured it, it was like really nice rocky head.
Yeah.
And I mean, despite my probably sort of dirty glassware, both glasses, I mean, there is
Some
nice lacing of the
Yep.
foam there
Yep.
still. So that just speaks to a very thorough, good brewing practice. Great hot break, good cold break, and it all comes together.
Yep. Well, thanks.
Those are great.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been just drinking little pours here and
Yeah.
there.
I can't get over the aroma of it. That's
You
the thing.
like
the
that?
most. I could drink this beer every day. I don't care what the weather's like either. Like this is what I love about dry Irish Stout is that it's not like for winter. It's not for the cold weather or whatever. It is just a good everyday drinking beer that fits into that UK beer profile of sessionable, thirst quenching, doesn't get in the way. But there's enough depth here that if you wanted to pause and think about it, you can do that. You can dig into the aroma or the flavor of it. But otherwise, you could just drink pint after pint, and it's not obtrusive. It's great, really well balanced.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you like it. I had you in mind every step of the way. Jar of Destiny, challenge accepted and exceeded. How about you?
Nice, perfect. I love it. Wow,
All
really
right.
great.
Well, hopefully, I don't know. I mean, Irish Stout is one of those styles that I think is easy to brew, maybe tough to master, maybe not so tough to master, but I think I really loved the simplicity of the grain bill. I loved just like knocking out the fermentation, doing everything I could think of to make sure that it finished as dry as it has.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know about the hops. I was just like, hey, we'll just throw in some English hops and,
Yeah.
hope for the best.
That's the right choice.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel because we do this kind of thing every single week. More Jar of Destiny videos coming up, including the next stout that the jar gave us. That's coming up next week. For John and Mike, brew-news.com. Brew on.
Cheers.